Today we are back with another exciting opening for black, which is the Grunfeld defense. So the Grunfeld defense starts with the d4, white plays d4, black plays knight to f6. At this stage, the engines tell you, the chess.com engine tells you that this is Indian defense. So the next move is c4. So today's video is sponsored by chess.com. You can join chess.com and buy the premium and golden rated and solve the puzzle and improve your chess game. So back to our pawn to c4 and black plays g6. So the Grunfeld defense is a cousin of the King's Indian defense. After after g6, the third move which the white plays is knight to c3. So where black strikes in the center with the third move, what black plays d5. So instead of playing bishop to g7, here black can either play bishop to g7 instead of. So what separates the Grunfeld defense from the King Indian defense is the move. Here in the Grunfeld defense, white plays pawn to d5 instead of bishop to g7. So when we play g7, it becomes the King's Indian defense, and in the third move for black plays d5. So in the King's Indian, black is often playing for a kingside attack, while the Grunfeld is more confrontational. In the center, white might get a central pawn mass, but black plans to strike it down. So this was our main, the Grunfeld defense. So first we have talked about the starting position, and then why I think you should use this or why you shouldn't use this is because why I recommend that you should use this, because where it's an active defense and black has to knock down, not build up. So black, it's a good opening for black. So it's little unbalancing and black can get some stronger central control. So there are some pros and cons of this, and the cons are white has some space advantage in the center. As you can see, his knight is more developed than black pieces, so white can have strong central, and where it's a very theoretical opening because it can game can divert into many variation. So back to our main topic is we should talk about the variation. So the theme of the variation of Grunfeld is white center versus black efforts to take it down. Two main variations are the exchange and the Russian variation, but there are other worth knowing too. First of all, we will talk about the exchange variation. So the most popular and theoretically important Grunfeld in the exchange variation, which continues after fourth move, after the first three move, or just you can say the sixth move of this game, or the simple, and in the fourth move, white just takes the pawn at the center of pawn takes, black takes the d5 pawn, and what does the black does? Black retakes the pawn and white recaptures the pawn. So at this stage, while knight takes d5, and instead of taking and exchanging knight, white plays d4, e4, sorry, de4. So then in the next move, black plays knight takes c3 and b takes c3, the knight s3. So the simplest plan for black, if white allows it, is to continue with c5, knight c6 and bishop to g7. and sometimes bishop to g4 to pin the white's knight to the queen, all of which put pressure under d4 square. White usually seeks rapid development and actively play to compensate, sometimes sacrificing the a pawn. So at this stage, just in exchange, if then this was the main exchange variation where both the players just exchange their pieces, and in the next move white can just simply go for this move. So this is where the game advances and it becomes the Grunfeld, and game is more likely to transpose into the King's Indian. So the line is highly theoretical, which makes it more popular at the highest level of chess. So at this stage you can see that uh, this knight is attacking this pawn, this queen is also attacking, and if the next move is in the next move, knight can just simply move here and attack this pawn. So this is where in this game mostly they fight for the same position. So this was the exchange variation where the games is little bit balanced. So the next variation of the Grunfeld is our first moves are the same. So the three moves are same. So the main alternative to force, instead of taking the pawn d5 for white, is knight f3. Here white, instead of taking the pawn, white plays knight to f3, and which black usually follows with bishop to g7, and black plays this. So now we can just say this is the Grunfeld three knights variation or the Russian variation. After which white has three options. The Russian variation is queen to b3. White can just simply play this queen to b3, protecting the c pawn. For 5 move is e3 is another popular move which does so, or he can just, instead of taking the queen, he can just play e3, but blocks in the dark squared bishop. So this move is not much recommended. So we just take this move back and play queen to b3. So this move adds the control to d5 pawn, plays continues. So the fixed move is d takes pawn at c4, and now queen takes c4 pawn and e4. So at this stage, so in the next move white can just simply play e4, and white gets the better center, although black can pester the queen and chips at the center with the move a6 and b5. We can just simply play a6 in the first move, and in the next move we can just attack the queen with the pawn to b5, or instead of developing its pawn, white can just simply play c5. So there is another variation which is the Petrosian system. We need to first get back to main variation. So instead of the Russian, white can play a move which is bishop to g5. Instead of, white can just simply play white takes, and instead of recapturing the pawn, black plays bishop to sorry. White plays this, and at this stage white plays bishop to g5. So bishop to g5, now pinning the queen, which is equally popular. The typical continuation is knight to e4, the white can just simply, your black can just simply play knight to e4, and c takes d5. So this was our Petrosian system. White is also now able to defend the d pawn and e3 while not blocking in the dark squared bishop. So there is also the brickman attack. So in the fourth move, black plays bishop to f4. So we develop this pawn, and black we take this move, and black plays bishop to. So this continuation is called the Grunfeld gambit because white can win a pawn, but usually only temporarily, as it is in the continuation below. So what does the white? The white plays this, and then backs, and let's just say black is ready to go for castle, and now white plays this. So this is now the Grunfeld gambit. So these were the main variations of the Grunfeld defense, and I'll be back with another exciting, and I will definitely improve this video in upcoming time, and I'll make another video on this. So this was all for today. I hope you liked the video, and keep practicing and enjoy the game. Thank you so much.